For Georgia Now News, I'm Jenna Eason. Shortly after, a federal judge in Atlanta received a private reprimand for her conduct, the judge's identity was disclosed. Then two congressional Republicans from Georgia introduced impeachment resolutions against her. An investigation found that U.S. District Court Judge Eleanor Ross had sex with a high-ranking police officer in her chambers, attended a partisan political event, and then lied about it to investigators. Georgia State University law professor Clark Cunningham told GPB News that lying about the conduct constitutes grounds for impeachment.
That kind of misconduct involving deception was blocking an official proceeding. That's official misconduct, and certainly as I read the impeachment clause, that constitutes a grounds for impeachment, even though it might not be a crime.
Although Cunningham said that the misconduct could also be grounds for impeachment, he said the deception was a much more serious act of misconduct.
What's much more serious is the fact that she lied about it when she was responding to an official inquiry. You know, if she had lied about something much more mundane but still deceived the chief judge, that would be equally grounds for impeachment.
Cunningham further disputed the initial private reprimand because it would have prevented impeachment proceedings by hiding the actions.
I think it was really inappropriate for them to only issue a private reprimand. It's the mistake of thinking of this is simply a question of should she be punished. The real question here is how should the public be protected? And the private reprimand didn't protect the public at all.
U.S. Representatives Clay Fuller and Andrew Clyde filed the resolution against Ross back in June. So far, the resolution has been sent to the House Committee on the Judiciary for review. Environmental groups sent leaders of the city of Atlanta and the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport a notice last week of their intent to file a lawsuit for ongoing illegal pollution of the Flint River. Flint Riverkeeper and the Southern Environmental Law Center sent the notice to Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and Airport General Manager Ricky Smith, saying the lawsuit would be filed under the Clean Water Act. 3 jet fuel spills have been reported this year at the airport that resulted in contamination in the Flint River. Flint Riverkeeper announced back in June that they were working with SELC to explore their legal options due to the continued contamination of the river at the airport. Multiple Georgia cities rely on the river for their drinking water, and Flint Riverkeeper reports that they have detected elevated levels of substances called forever chemicals downstream that exceed the federal drinking water limits. The Flint River spans more than 200 miles across Georgia and eventually merges with the Chattahoochee River before making it to the Gulf of Mexico. Democratic U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff keeps throwing punches at Republican U.S. Representative Mike Collins over a report linking Collins' son-in-law to racist and anti-Semitic social media posts. Collins is running against Ossoff for his seat in the midterms. GPB News reports that Ossoff said in an online press conference that Collins needs to be transparent about his personal and financial ties to his son-in-law.
And he needs to answer for his well-documented ties to neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
At a press conference in Monroe County held by Collins, reporters pressed Collins to address the issue.
You know, we fully addressed that, but Jon Ossoff refuses to disavow these Democrat socialist movements in our country.
Collins has not disclosed whether his son-in-law has any financial ties to his campaign or office. The Georgia Recorder reports that a federal rule change of the Endangered Species Act could leave Georgia wildlife unprotected. The rule change modifies the definition for harm. Now, indirectly killing a species by altering or destroying its habitat is no longer considered under the definition of harm. Only intentionally killing a protected species remains forbidden. Environmental groups warn that this change could have devastating consequences for species on the list. Now let's end on a positive note today. A summer camp in Atlanta is giving kids a unique experience. Atlanta's Historic Oakland Cemetery hosts a summer camp that gives kids a hands-on learning environment where they explore art, science, engineering, and local history. Historic Oakland's Director of Education and Youth Programs, Ted Ward, says the cemetery allows kids to experience history firsthand.
One of the great things that I get to do is turn this 48-acre historic cemetery and green space into a living classroom.
Education coordinator Maya Williams says many children and their parents are surprised by the experience.
I think they're always surprised by the fact that a cemetery can be fun. Once they're in here and they're having fun, they're playing, they're learning, they're experimenting, it's like they're surprised that that kind of melts away and they get to enjoy being here.
The Historic Oakland Foundation offers educational programs throughout the year. Go to oaklandcemetery.org for more information. That's what's happening in Georgia now. For news anytime, check out our website at heregeorgianow.com. You can also download our app from the App Store or the Google Play Store. And to stay up to date on our content across all our platforms, follow us on Instagram at heregeorgianow and Facebook at Georgia Now. I'm Jenna Eason.